All right, it's official. Rand Paul is a piece of shit. Point blank. This is a video that has really quite a while been in the making, folks, because I feel like every month or so, or every couple weeks, I'll see something in the news about Rand Paul, and I'm like, what the fuck? You are a piece of shit. And I've been consistently seeing those kinds of things. I'm like, what is wrong with this guy? Because, the thing about Rand Paul is, and this is the thing that's always the sort of crossover between progressives and libertarians, there's a lot of crossover, with the legalization of drugs, pulling out of wars, not wanting to suck the cock of corporations. There's always that kind of crossover, right? And so, I'll just give you an example. Like when you watch Rand Paul in 2016 on the Republican stage, he was talking about the drug war and how it was, was discriminating against black people because, they can't pay for those kinds of small fines that they're given, whereas like Rand Paul can pay for it, and he was going after NSA spying and all this kind of stuff. That kind of stuff, it made it seem like, oh, this dude is actually like pretty good on like 40% of the issues or something like that, But it seems like he's taken this weird turn to being a douche and a dumbass. And a lot of it's really weird to me too, is what I have to tell you, and I'll explain to you why. But this one that has really just kind of been like, okay, I should probably talk about this now. It says Rand Paul says he probably will disclose whistleblowers' name. So the dude is the libertarian, right? You're talking about the guy who's supposed to be small government and all this stuff. He wants to release the name of a whistleblower who's exposing, quid pro quo from Donald Trump, and basically apply what's called stochastic terrorism. If you don't know what stochastic terrorism is, because it's a fairly new phenomenon. Basically, what you do is you don't directly say to, attack a person or something like that, but you post a video of Ilhan Omar talking with literal cuts in of the Twin Towers being bombed. So, remember, for example, you guys remember Bill O'Reilly when he said, Tiller the baby killer, and then George Tiller was killed. That kind of a thing, stochastic terrorism. And that's what you do. And so you rile up, get a lone wolf, someone with nothing to lose, some lunatic, crazy person who's got no value in their life, is probably mentally insane. And then you inspire them to do this because someone like that is out there. And there's a lot of Republicans like that out there. And so, that's what you do, and that's what's going to happen. Anytime you leak a name like that, that's what's going to happen. Even if it's not like a stochastic terrorism, it'll be, to a milder degree. A person will be harassed or whatever, vandalized, etc., etc. So this is a very, shitty thing. And to come from a libertarian who's supposed to be about small government, and you're, basically, in effect, sucking the cock of the government, it's remarkably weird to me. Another thing that pissed me off really, really a lot was when I saw this. And this one just baffled me. I really didn't understand it. I was like, what the fuck is happening? I've seen this dude go to war with his Republican colleagues. I remember watching one where he's like, talking about like rights for, someone like in Gitmo, for example, where I forget if it was Lindsey Graham or Ted Cruz. I want to say it was Lindsey Graham who was saying there's a difference between like a enemy combatant and somebody who's basically like a prisoner. And he was saying, no, there's not a difference. You can't do that because then the government's going to use it. This is the guy we're talking about, right? The libertarian dude. And so on those issues, he's good. Rand Paul offers to buy Omar a ticket to Somalia so she might come back and appreciate America more? What the fuck are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. Nonetheless, my understanding of the situation in Somalia is there's a bunch of factions fighting because there's no like real central government. It's this fucking, anarchist state basically. They were like a failed socialist government, I guess, they used all their money on the military. It fell through. Then it turned into this anarchist, country, and what happens is you get a bunch of factions. What do you think is going to result from anarchism? Peace and harmony? Of course not. This shit is clowning lunacy from the jump, and so that's what's going on over there. So I find it ironic that would even be what he would say. Uh, quote, and so while I'm not saying we forcibly send her anywhere, weird comment, by the way, I'm willing to contribute, and now it's not even to buy her a ticket to go visit Somalia. And I think she can look and maybe learn a little bit about the disaster that is Somalia, that has no capitalism, has no God-given rights guaranteed in a constitution, and has about 7 different tribes that have been fighting each other for the last 40 years. First of all, and he says, and then maybe after she's visited Somalia a while, she might come back and appreciate America more. None of this shit makes sense, by the way. None of this shit makes any sense. How on earth is Somalia an example of, like, why we would need capitalism? I don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And then God-given rights guaranteed in the Constitution. I guess that's a sort of, I don't know if that's a way of saying that, these natural rights and God-given rights don't really exist, because obviously they don't seem to have them guaranteed. But I don't understand how this has anything to do with, like, oh, this is proving that capitalism is great. And again, man, you're talking about a libertarian who is sucking the cock of a corrupt-ass government, because that's in effect what he's doing. And he was with Trump rallying in Kentucky. I believe it was Kentucky. Man, he's really changed. The first inkling of this began when he suddenly, shockingly flipped on Mike Pompeo. Remember that? Do you remember that? I remember watching a Kyle Kalinske video where it showed Ron Paul expressing his disappointment in his son for caving in and supporting Mike Pompeo. I guess the stress just got to be too much for him. Donald Trump and the rest of the Republicans got to him. Same thing with Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham was shitting on Trump like crazy during the election. And then now he's, that guy is like I've never seen a bigger butt boy in my entire life. I mean, that guy is just constantly, on his knees to defend Donald Trump. It's really weird. That one is even weirder than the Rand Paul situation. That's a whole nother ball game, because I don't even understand what's going on there. Trump has done some weird stuff to these people. I don't know what it is, but none of this shit makes any sense. But most importantly, it's racist as fuck. That shit is super fucking racist. That whole go back to your country bullshit, that shit is insanely fucking racist. And for Rand Paul, who, I saw on that stage in 2016 defending black people who were, discriminated against in the war on drugs for not being able to pay those, fines and things like that, and those penalties, to seeing this, it really shocked me. I was like, wow, okay. You also got to remember, this is the dude who praised the Lochner-era courts. They're talking about the Supreme Court, which said, nah, bruh, having laws that make it so, there's no child labor. Nah, dog, that's infringing on the rights of contract. This is the guy we're talking about. So this is the thing, all right? You got to understand, I know that I've done conversations about whether or not Hillary or Rand Paul would be better. I said Hillary, no contest. But Rand Paul is a piece of shit, and he's lost all my respect. I had respect for Rand Paul because I felt like he was a legit dude who I agreed with on like 40% of the issues. We may not have the same reasons for some of those things, but we still agreed, and I felt like he was an honest dude who's consistent. He's gone from that to just sucking the cock of a corrupted big government. That's what he has done. He's now doing that just to defend Donald Trump and his corrupt-ass big government. So, I had to tell you this, man, because I am not happy. I am very disappointed. I'm pissed. I'm very pissed off. Just seeing all this crap, man. And to conclude, Rand Paul is a piece of shit.